Now let's talk about movies. This week we have another fan-made situation that we talked about something like that in TV. We're going to talk about something like that in movies. We also have we're going to talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing ever so briefly, as well as a new R.L. Stine adaptation moving forward in spite of the strikes. So let's get into all of that, shall we? Welcome, nerds, to the movie news for the week. This is where we're going to be talking about all of the nerdy and or pop culture related movie news that we can get our grubby little hands on. So like if it's been announced, if there's a new trailer, if there's casting, all of that's gonna be here. So let's get into that, shall we? Okay, so trailers is an interesting situation this week. We have our first trailer coming out the gate is, again, we have to start with Mortal Kombat stuff because that's just how it is. But fan-made movie, Mortal Kombat Deathright, dropped the trailer. There is a whole YouTube channel dedicated to the production company that's doing this. This is not sanctioned by Ed Boon. This is not sanctioned by Warner Brothers, probably at all. But it's fan-made and like just a lot of fan-made stuff comes off looking very cheap. This doesn't look very, very cheap at all. This looks like this is people who actually know how to make do a production and make things look cinematic. It does kind of look like they went with cheaper gear, but that's, you know, you work with what you got when you're not funded by, you know, somebody as rich as the Warner Brothers. But this, I mean, it's absolutely worth a watch because Mortal Kombat, A, but B, like, this is the quality that you can do on a shoestring. It kind of is making Hollywood look bad, I think. So, moving from there, speaking of unofficial, or fan-made, or low budget, maybe is probably more appropriate, Legend of the White Dragon dropped, I believe, what is going to be the final trailer. It happened at San Diego Comic-Con. This, if you don't remember, is the final movie from Jason David Frank before he tragically passed. I believe it was a little over a year ago now. So you take a look at this trailer, and then you take a look at that Mortal Kombat trailer. And while they do both look like very much a whole lot of love was put into both of them, there are some visual issues with the White Dragon trailer that I didn't really pick up on the Mortal Kombat trailer. So as much as I absolutely love the stuff that Bat and the Sun does, they're the guys that do the Superpower Beatdown. They've done a couple of other shorts. They did a Batman short a little while ago that we talked about here on the channel. They're great storytellers. I just think cinematography wise, they could use a little bit of work, whereas the Mortal Kombat project, less so. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, I'm gushing a little too much about Mortal Kombat, but yeah, go watch all of these trailers because so far so good. Next one that we're talking about is Kill Room. This is just one that kind of came through on my suggested feed in YouTube and was like, that's interesting. This is a huge cast. Uma Thurman, Samuel L. Jackson, Joe Manganiello, Maya Hawke. A whole lot of big faces, big names, and looks like a very intriguing movie premise. So go check out the trailer. Let me know what you think. Does this one strike your interest? Like I really didn't think it would, but it kind of does. So there's that. And then our final trailer is the final trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's. That's right. We got a final trailer for Five Nights and just doing more for the hype machine. There was recently a rumor talking about the length of this movie was going to be 3 hours long. Like, it's bad enough that it's going to be PG-13, so like a lot of the kids that were going to go see it might not now. But 3 hours, that's going to be a big turnoff for even more kids, I think. So I don't know, man. I'm going to see it. Like it looks like something I want to watch, especially having at least played the first game. Like, I'm very intrigued, but that 3 hours seems a little strange for such a movie, but maybe it'll work. I don't know. Let's move on though, shall we? Let's talk now about some regular ass news. We got a bit. So before we get into the fun things, we're gonna start this off and just have an appreciative moment for the comedic genius that was Paul Reubens. If you don't know, and why wouldn't you at this point? Paul Reubens passed away a few weeks ago. A little over a week ago now, of cancer, and he had apparently been battling cancer for some time. He was 70 years old and just made my childhood a lot more interesting. There are a number of things that I watched routinely, and Pee-wee's Playhouse was one of those things. Grandma had Disney Channel, and so anytime I was over at Grandma's house, I was watching as much Pee-wee's Playhouse as possible. As an adult, I still watch a fair amount of Pee-wee. And Paul Reubens just brings joy. I mean, even not as Pee Wee Herman, even like in something like, he was fantastic in, what was that, Blow. He was also really great, which is drama, but he was also really great in The Mystery Men with Ben Stiller, which is a different kind of comedy for him. It was a whole lot of fart jokes and just... The comedic world and just the world in general is a little less bright because of the passing of Paul. So we're going to take a moment and remember Paul Reubens. Mutant Mayhem was embroiled with some controversy since its launch. So there was a reviewer. I honestly didn't write down the reviewer's name because it's irrelevant at this point, because so many people have picked this story up without actually having seen the movie or done even the most cursory bit of research and ran with it. So there was a reviewer who is of the more conservative leaning side, which is fine. But he said that they made Splinter gay in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie. And it was a tweet, and that was effectively the entire tweet was they made Splinter gay. Why? And then other conservative outlets kind of picked that up and went, oh, we're going to talk about this for a little while because it's news, even though we don't know what we're talking about. So the confusion is over a character named Scumbag. Scumbag is voiced by a man, but Scumbag doesn't actually have any lines. Scumbag just makes noises because it's effectively a fly, I think. I honestly haven't seen the movie yet either, but, I can do research. So, Scumbag is technically voiced by a man, which is part of the confusion. Again, no actual lines of dialogue. The character does not speak. The character is, as I am told, as I have read, from a number of not just mainstream outlets, from other underground outlets as well. The character in the movie specifically is referred to as she. That is a female character, and at one point, apparently, Splinter had a romantic relationship with Scumbag. Which that is the issue, not the fact that he was kind of gay for 5 seconds, but like Splinter being a sexual creature is not how the Ninja Turtles works, but that's not what we're talking about. So the marketing team, when they were making the character posters that are all over the place, they didn't know, for whatever reason, didn't know about the story of the movie. They just knew certain notes and bits and pieces, and they knew that the character was voiced by a man. So, using the logic that they had and the information that they had, they wrote on the character poster Scumbag as himself instead of herself. Apparently the director and production staff all were very upset by this, and it has since been fixed, especially now that, people have made the connection and went, oh, my childhood. But yeah, it was from the information that we have now, it was an honest mistake, but it was a mistake nonetheless. Splinter is not gay. Scumbag is not a male. And that's as much as we're going to get into that, because, I really want to see the movie. I will very probably have seen it by the time we speak again next week, but as it stands right now, I had other things going on and I couldn't catch it. So let's move on, shall we? Oh, actually, no, we're not moving on yet. There was one other piece around Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It wasn't them, you know, race swapping one of the main characters or making one of the main characters gay, or even really severing the Splinter Shredder connection that originally happened in the story, because that was necessary. Anyway, there is something else here, and that is that it has been greenlit to be, they're actually in development, though how much development can go on right now remains to be seen. They're in development for a sequel to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, as well as a spin-off TV series associated as well too also. I know I just repeated myself. So interesting. They're really putting a whole lot of eggs into that one basket though. So hopefully it does better than it seems to be projected to do right now. I've heard not a whole lot of bad stuff, aside from obviously April's black for no reason, and, you know, Splinter and Shredder are no longer connected through the mythology. That seems like unnecessary changes, but by and large, most people seem to be liking the movie who are actually watching it. So there you go. All right, now let's move on. We're talking now about some stuff that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. DC Animated, Warner Brothers Animated, I guess I should say, announced that there's going to be 2 huge comic book adaptations in the animated movie world, and that is Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as The Watchmen will be coming out on the Warner Brothers Animated platform, though how far into development were these movies before the strike? I don't know, but you know, hopefully soon it'll happen. From there, we have Wonder Woman. We have an announcement from Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot herself has come out and said that she is specifically working with Safran and James Gunn on a 3rd solo movie. So Gal Gadot will be coming back as Wonder Woman, at least according to Gal Gadot, because James Gunn and Peter Safran, neither of them have said one way or the other for certain with this situation. So that remains to be seen. There's actually a rumor revolving around this one over in the rumor mill, so stick around for that. From there, though, let's talk about Disney Marvel. This is actually tied into the strikes because the VFX artists over at the Disney Marvel company, the ones that are not, no, I think even the ones that are working for third-party VFX companies, they're trying to unionize. And this is the first time that this subsection of Hollywood creators will have been unionized. So that's pretty huge. Could very much factor into the negotiations that are going on right now with SAG and WAGs, or writers, whatever. So yeah, pretty interesting. That's all I really have on that one. There was a vote placed, and the paperwork that they had to fill out to request representation by union representatives, the union body, I don't know how unions work, especially in Hollywood, but yeah, they have put that paperwork forward, and it seems to be looking good for unionization for them. Generally speaking, I am not very pro-union, though in a situation like we have in the economy that is Hollywood, unions kind of make sense to a very large degree. Not 100%, but about 90% in favor of unionization in that situation. So that's what we got there. Let's move another real quick piece. Talk to Me, the new A24 horror movie, has done so well. And actually A24 is one of the studios that is still, the writers and actors are still allowed to do work for, because they're not part of the body, the AF, I can't remember the acronym, the who represents the studios. They are not represented by that same company. They are an independent, so they work directly with the union. They don't go through the intermediary, which means the union is allowing people to still work with A24, which is pretty huge. So yeah, but their new big movie, Talk to Me, just got announced that there is a green-lit sequel moving forward, so that's pretty awesome. Again, that was a quick one. And then our final piece, I think, yes, final piece for movies this episode is Zombie Town, a new R.L. Stine adaptation. It's a live-action movie that is going to find its way into theaters. I don't know who the production company is just yet, but it is to the point in its development, so I should know who developed it, that it got a rating, PG-13 rating specifically. So R.L. Stein's kids' books are getting PG-13 ratings these days. So weird. Such an interesting dichotomy over there in Hollywood, isn't it? So that's what we have for the movies section. Let's talk now about the suggestion this week in movies. Movie suggestion is Pee-wee's Big Holiday. This is the last Pee Wee Herman movie that came out. Joe Manganiello factors very heavily into this, and this is the reason why we love Paul Reubens. I mean, there is plenty of other reasons why as well, but the Pee-wee stuff, man, is just so good. And this is, even though it's separated from Big Adventure by, I think it was like 25 years or something, you could still watch all 3 Pee Wee Herman movies back to back to back, and they would feel like like a continuation of the same character. Everything would feel right. And even though, again, this most recent one was separated from the other 2 by a fair amount. So yeah, this is good stuff. Go check out the Pee-wee's Last Holiday and remember you some Paul Reubens, because those are good memories, man. And once again, nerds, this is just a clip from the main show, the Weekend Nerddom, over on the main channel, youtube.com/generally nerdy. Go check that out for the entire episode, or just stay tuned here for other news related to nerdy pop culture stuff and just random fun little bits. Before we head out, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.